Okay, cool. I can see me now. We're live. Time to cue up the music. Welcome everyone. Happy Mother's Day to those who celebrate. Today is going to be, once I update the title correctly. Go ahead and do that. It'll be Kentucky Fried Corn Ops episode 12. Now, being that I later discovered that I was going to have an episode on Mother's Day, I kind of had to brainstorm a bit, and I thought to myself, I don't know if I play any games where you have to either rescue a mother or play as a mother. And then I remembered this one, and I've played Simpsons Arcade many times, especially on RGL, and I was like, okay, we're just going to do this. Music. I do love this music because Bart's Nightmares soundtrack is a gem, but I'm going to turn it down a little bit. It's a little loud in my ear. This is my favorite Simpsons soundtrack, so I wanted to utilize it for today. Alright, so for a little bit of personal history, I learned the speedrun for Simpsons Arcade back in, it's like mid-2017, for what at the time was a, speedrun communities like to do commemorative stuff, like for specific months, you can do, something based on a specific developer or a specific franchise. This one I learned for Junami, so June 2017. And then I learned to 1cc it the following year. My initial speedruns weren't 1cc's. I kind of just did my best to go fast. But then once I picked up the skill level, I kind of managed to merge them both into one. And now it's just one and the same. Growing up, I would say this was probably one of my favorite arcade beat-em-ups. It's very much a classic in the nostalgic sense of the word. As I've grown up, I've learned that there are definitely better games, but I still have a soft spot for this one. And the, while the US version, I think, doesn't hold up in a lot of ways, the Japanese version is actually pretty great. It has legit speed tech. You can actually go fast in it. And some of those differences we'll get into a bit later. Let's go ahead and go to the wiki entry. Simpsons, released in 1991, is an arcade beat-em-up game developed and published by Konami, and it was the first video game based on the Simpsons franchise to be released in North America. I actually didn't know that. Game allows up to 4 players to control members of the Simpsons family as they fight various enemies to rescue the kidnapped Maggie. It was a huge commercial success in the US, where it was one of the top 3 best-selling arcade video game machines of 1991. The game also features voice acting from the television show's voice actors Dan Castellaneta, Julie Kavner, Nancy Cartwright, and Yardley Smith, reprising their respective roles, say that 9 times fast, as the Simpsons family. Now, while I've never played either of these versions, it was ported to the Commodore 64 and also MS-DOS soon after its launch in the arcades. I have seen YouTube footage of both of these. It's pretty rough, but it was a way to play the game on home platforms, so it has that going for it. Quite a bit of time later, we're talking over 20 years, it was also released under that title on Xbox Live Arcade for the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation Network for PlayStation 3 in February 2012. However, for unknown reasons, it was removed from both services on December 20th, 2013. See, I know delisting is like a very common thing these days, but to not last even 2 years is pretty rough. I managed to pick it up on PlayStation 3, and I still own and play it to this day on that platform. But it does make me sad that people who really want to play it won't be able to go back and get it because, those services are pretty much done. PlayStation Network's still online, of course, but that's mainly to preserve future consoles like the PS4, PS5. In 2021, Arcade 1UP released a 30th anniversary home arcade cabinet, which is still the most recent release to this day. I definitely would not mind seeing it get another home release, particularly for like Steam or the Switch, kind of like the TMNT collection, but I don't know, there really isn't enough demand for other Simpsons games. Plus, this is the only Konami Simpsons title, so that could also be difficult. It'd have to be like some cross-developer stuff. They could maybe do like a Fox collection, release Simpsons, X-Men, Bucky O'Hare, maybe something like that could be pretty cool, but we'll never know. Well, I won't say we'll never know, but we definitely don't right now. So the plot. This is where the game gets a little bit hokey. While walking through downtown Springfield, the Simpsons collide with Smithers, who has just stolen a large diamond from a jewelry shop for Mr. Burns. I personally take issue with this aspect of the story, because yes, Burns is a piece of garbage criminal in many ways, but he also does stuff that's a lot more under the radar, and stuff where like he can actually flex his finances, and just flat out stealing a diamond is a little bit too surface level for him, I think, but maybe that's just my opinion. Anyway, the diamond goes flying, lands in Maggie's mouth, she begins sucking on it like a pacifier, Smithers kidnaps her. Doesn't try to remove the diamond, just swipes Maggie. So, decent suspension of disbelief, but it's what it is. Video games are weird. The rest of the Simpsons give chase across the city, fighting off hordes of enemies that are hired by Mr. Burns to reach the Springfield nuclear power plant. The pursuit covers 8 stages, each of which ends with a fight against a strong boss character. Of note, I believe this is the maybe only Konami arcade beat 'em up where every boss has their own theme. I'd have to go back and look, but I think maybe Violent Storm also has this going for it, but I can't remember. It was definitely the first. TMNT and X-Men definitely did not have that. In the final stage, the Simpsons must first defeat Smithers, and then Mr. Burns uses a mobile battle suit equipped with a variety of weapons. Once Burns is defeated, Maggie puts her pacifier in his mouth, and the Simpsons take her home, with Homer throwing the diamond away. Classic thing to do, I guess. Home ports for Commodore and MS-DOS were devved by Novatrade. Backbone Entertainment released the live arcade and PSN versions. Director was Kengo Nakamura. Programmers Akira Suzuki, Hirotaka Ishikawa, and NWK. Composer was Norio Hanzawa. Originally released in March of that year, 1991, for North America, and then later in Japan in August. Anyway, the gameplay. Pretty standard side-scrolling beat-em-up Konami style. You don't have a Super Joy, but your double button attack does a special variant of your attack that's really powerful. Similar to what Simpsons did. Sorry, Simpsons, this is Simpsons. Similar to what TMNT did, because I know what my franchises are. You just get this big, unsafe attack that does a lot of damage. And does really, really good job of crowd control. 2 different cabinet modes were produced, one allowing up to 2 simultaneous players, each able to choose a character, and another allowing 4 players with a dedicated position for each character. Controls consist of an 8-way joystick and 2 buttons to jump and attack. Of note, the Japanese release of this game only had 2-player versions. There was no 4-player version. That was initially US exclusive. I don't recall if the European editions had 4-player gameplay, but because I've not played those. I'm gonna assume they probably did, because they came quite a bit later. But anyway, so the characters had distinctive attack styles. Now, this I will touch on. Homer does punches and kicks, Marge swings a vacuum cleaner, Bart wields a skateboard, and Lisa attacks with a jump rope. I'll actually go a little bit into the technical aspects of this. All of this is true, but thanks to the deep diving of another Simpsons arcade runner named Zurst, amazing arcade runner in his own right, he determined that every character in this game has the same damage values and range. So while you think, you know, a vacuum cleaner would outrange someone's fists, that actually ends up being not the case. The game is programmed to where they all play the same. So a lot of what comes down to how you're playing is just personal preference. Although, for reasons that aren't his fault, Homer is the de facto worst speedrun character. Because there's one item that he can use that actually activates slower than the other characters. 2 characters standing close to each other can mount a combined attack. Homer and Marge hold each other's ankles, roll around the screen to mow down enemies. Homer can place either Bart or Lisa on his shoulder so they can strike at 2 different heights. And Marge does the same, except she throws either Bart or Lisa in a zigzag pattern across the screen. Of note, these attacks are mostly bad. Particularly, Homer and Marge combo and Bart and Lisa combo, they have like this active hitbox that just moves around the screen, but they can be hit out of it. So you're completely vulnerable while you're trying to just bump into enemies, and they still suffer the same kind of hit stun. It doesn't really do that much damage. If it was like one-shotting everything you could touch, it would be a lot better. But because you can hit an enemy and then just get hit because they have iframes and can just bop you back, it's usually just not worth doing. A lot of people remember the game for that, but Trust me when I say that most of them are largely bad. Each player has a health meter. Decreases upon being hit by enemies. Food items can be picked up to replenish it. The US version health does not refill between stages with 2 exceptions. After the first stage and after the 6th stage, and that's because you have bonus stages after those 2 stages. In the Japanese version, it refills after the end of every stage, so the bonus stage is just for score and speed purposes. Players can also pick up and throw swing items such as hammers, bowling balls, and mailboxes, melee weapons. Classic melee weapon, the mailbox. Whenever a player's health meters run out, 1 life is lost, and if all lives are lost, the player may continue the game by adding credits within a time limit. Standard for arcade games at the time. As mentioned about the mini-games, they are played between stages to require players to mash their buttons as quickly as possible, with computer-controlled enemies replacing any characters not in play. As mentioned, these occur after Stage 1 and Stage 6. I touched on a few of these before, but I'll give it the official rundown here. The Japanese version of the game includes many differences from the NA release. These changes include throwable small-scale nuclear bombs that clear all on-screen enemies. These are busted. I think I only used like 3 or 4 of them through the whole run, but they're incredibly good. They one-shot everything within a blast radius. It's one of the reasons why the Japanese version is optimal. A life bar that, unlike the NA version, can accumulate 3 levels by eating food beyond the first full level. That's also a thing. When you're healing, you can actually gain temporary health past the initial full pink status that you see there. It can go up to, it goes yellow and then green, I think is the order it goes in. Player's life is then turned into bonus points after they complete a level and restored when the next level begins. In this version, there are hidden items, food, and weapons, which appear when the player hits specific points of the screen. Also crucial. Melee weapons in the Japanese version are completely busted compared to the US. Slingshot does more damage. There's access to a different weapon and a broom. And the hammer and the broom both have really strong dive attacks that pretty much define the speedrun. Also, the Japanese version, the score system is different. Each enemy defeated gives the player a certain number of points, while the North American version, the player only earns a single point by defeating them. This is similar to the TMNT arcade score system, and that's still accurate. Hey, congrats on the streak. So, let's talk about the legacy a little bit. Soon after the arcade release, Nova Trade released ports for the Commodore 64 and MS-DOS. A listing on the Australian Classification Board website posted on November 9, 2011 hinted at a port of the game being developed by Backward Entertainment for multiple platforms. This came to fruition in January 2012 when the game was released for PlayStation Network in February, and then an Xbox Live Arcade release sometime later. Not much later, it was pretty close to the same time. I think it may have been like less than a week between the 2 releases. The port features online multiplayer, the ability to unlock the rare Japanese 4-player version of the game. To my knowledge, this is the only way to play the Japanese version in 4 players, so another nice piece of incentive that it has, and another reason it's sad that it's no longer available. And also promotional content from the game's arcade launch. The game was initially made available exclusively to the PS Plus users at no charge. I was not a PS Plus member at the time, so I could take advantage of this, but I was more than happy to pay for the game. Childhood favorite, and I love it now for different reasons. The Indiana Bart music's kind of drab. Oh, it's skipping anyway. Okay, we're good. Good old Bloodstream. So, this game I've not played. A completely different title inspired by the arcade game called The Simpsons Arcade was released by EA for iOS on December 19, 2009. I've been an Android user since 2011, so I've never played it. Unlike the arcade game, the title is a single-player game where players control Homer, assisted by the other family members via power-ups. The plot is also slightly altered as it revolves around a thumb drive containing plans for Burns' Project Operation mission hidden inside a donut that Homer attempted to eat after bumping into Smithers, who had been tasked with securing the plans, allegedly containing the town's secret data. See, that's a Simpsons plot I can get behind. It's way too advanced for 1991, because no one was using thumb drives in that time, but still. Floppy disks were a thing too. But I guess can't trust Burns to use computers. With Burns' associates retrieving the donut and taking turns keeping it safe while Homer remains ignorant of the drive inside, his objective is simply to take back the donut. Naturally. But first he must defeat Chief Wiggum before advancing to the next level before taking the final showdown with Burns in his mansion. I guess Wiggum would be pissed if someone keeps stealing a donut, I really don't know. And then, finally, in June 2021, as mentioned, the Arcade 1-Up release occurred for the 30th anniversary, and was released late fall of the same year. talk about the reception real quick. In the United States, thousands of arcade cabinets were ordered upon its debut at the Acme in March 1991. Acme being the American Coin Machine Exposition. I would love to have a time machine and be able to go to at least one of those. Simpsons went on to win a Platinum Award from the American Amusement Machine Association, or AAMA, for sales achievement in 1991, making it one of the top 3 best-selling arcade video game machines in 1991, with the Neo Geo MVS winning Platinum, and below Street Fighter II, which won Diamond, which, that makes sense. 1991 was the year that arcades changed forever because of Street Fighter II. Nothing was putting stop to that. In Japan, Game Machine listed The Simpsons on their October 1st, 1991 issue as being the 11th most popular arcade game for the previous 2 weeks. Street Fighter had been out for like 8 months at that point, so maybe the luster wore off, who knows. Street Fighter was still going hot. They had 2 more versions to release within the next year, even. The arcade game received positive reviews from critics. Sinclair user gave it a positive review saying, quote, "It's the great-looking graphics, good sampled sound, and clever animations that make Simpsons so much fun to play." Honestly, even with its gameplay flaws, I can actually get behind that. When Konami had a third-party license that they had to turn into a video game, they always understood the assignment for how to get the flavor down, whether it be the presentation, the music, the look. They always just seemed to put their all into it. They never half-assed any of it. TMNT feels like a TMNT episode. Simpsons feels like a Simpsons episode. Same goes for Bucky O'Hare. Same goes for G.I. Joe, Wild West Cowboys, and Moo Mesa. X-Men I don't really count because that was only based on a pilot episode of something, and nothing had really been established in terms of, like, the music. It looked good, but the music was kind of like, they kind of just went with what they had. It was still great. It's not really much of an X-Men thing. Screw Attack ranked the arcade game as the best cartoon-based game, and the game was inducted into GameSpot's Hall of Fame. The PC MS-DOS version of the game was reviewed in 1992 in Dragon number 180 in the, quote, "the role of computers," end quote, column. The reviewers gave the game 3 out of 5 stars. I feel like it would probably rank quite a bit lower today, but you never know. No. So I've got a few pieces of literature to look at here. This is the 4-player upright manual for the US version. Got all your parts lists here. I love the fact that they actually have the logo correct. Just absolutely classic. All right, let me start the playlist over. Yes, it starts with a scream. Got your control panel assembly. Quite the disruption there. Got your wiring harness. Sub-harness for 3 players and 4 players. As someone who's messed with wire harnesses, it's not fun. It's necessary, but it's not fun. So I appreciate arcade hardware distributors and assemblers for willing to put up with this stuff over the years. Essentially, a harness is needed to be able to have more than 2 players playing a single PCB. That's not the same as a kick harness. A kick harness is what enables more than 3 buttons. Kick harnesses were required for, like, Street Fighter II, for example. Here's your setup screen. Got all your dip switches. Extra coins for a premium start. I always love the diagrams. Konami PCBs are beasts, for sure. I own an X-Men PCB myself, and it's, keeping that thing safe is a challenge. But like harnesses, sometimes it's necessary. This equipment complies with requirements in Part 15 of. Let's move on. Got you a nice little wiring diagram. There are times when I feel like I wish I could utilize time better by showing off stuff like this, but I've never been a big hardware guy, I'll be perfectly honest with you. But I always like seeing stuff like this. Here we have a copy of the set instruction manual available on eBay for $4. This thing is beat to shit, but I love the fact that someone has that and they're willing to get rid of it. Like, this thing has been through the ringer a few times. I'm actually pretty happy this is a thing. This here is pretty sweet. I was able to find this, and it's the assembly/installation guide for the PC version that I believe was for MS-DOS at the time. Got your floppy disk installation, hard disk installation. Wasn't doing much hard disk installing back in 1991-92. Got your neat password system. I also love these dialogues. Hello there, friend. Welcome to the city of Springfield. Population happy. Look around at all the smiling Springfieldians. See how they interact at work and at play. From the chattering school children, all one word for reasons, in the playgrounds, to the hustle and bustle of white-collar workers shuffling papers in downtown offices, to the usually steady hum of the town's nuclear reactor. This peaceful community is a model of traditional Americana. It's so good. Every season is a joy here in Springfield. There's nothing quite as peaceful as a stroll by the banks of the Springfield River on a spring day. The gentle breeze blowing through your hair, the smell of the early morning dew, the soft glow of the fish in the river. In the summer, you can grab a hot dog and watch the Springfield episodes play ball. Sorry, isotopes. Autumn brings the start of a new school year, and do the locals get involved in their children's extracurriculars activities? Do they ever? School plays and recitals are in with the PTA crowd. This is hilarious. This is the most 90s thing I've ever read. The best way to know the town is to know its inhabitants. We would like to introduce you to a typical Springfield family, the Ned Flanders family. Unfortunately, the Flanders are a very active family and are unavailable at the moment. In fact, nearly every family is busy doing one thing or another. It seems there are no families we can use to demonstrate their friendliness in Springfield. Wait a second. There is one family that doesn't look busy right now at all, and they happen to live right next door to the Flanders. It's the Homer Simpson family. Why it had to be Homer and not any of the others, I don't know, but you also get a bio for each character. These are also a joy to read. I won't read them for the sake of time, but there's some great stuff, so I'll leave it on the screen for a moment, just to make sure we have them in the VOD. Friendly and enthusiastic, yeah, okay. Even though I don't often understand her, isn't that the truth? Everything about this is just pitching Springfield as a city. It's so funny. So here we have an overlay of the plot. Smithers kidnaps Maggie. We talked about that earlier. Nice little set of commands here to be able to utilize your controls. C464. Lanes their clocks. Nice image here of Bart from, I can't remember the name of the episode, but it was from season 1. So we declared war on Nelson. Had the piece of grass sticking out of his mouth with the sunglasses. What's that on the screen, man? HUD description. Something about Marge putting on boxing gloves and punching a balloon is quite the mood. That's some good stuff. Yo, Bedrito, thank you so much for the raid. We'll get started here with gaming here in just a moment. Looks like the slingshot's the only weapon available in the DOS version. New levels of excitement. How can we lose? Does seem to retain all the stages though, so that's good. Having all 8 stages is kind of a blessing. I do love me a notes section in a classic manual. Once again, happy Mother's Day to everyone coming in from the raid. Nice sprite work here. We've got a credit screen. Nice little yellow outing there. A few more things to showcase. This is the image from the Wikipedia page. This is located at a brewery in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I thought it looked quite messy on the floor, but it turns out that's just the tile pattern. This is the cabinet I used to see everywhere, wherever the game was available. Admittedly, the overlay on the panel looks really good. Has all the characters, they all have their own color designation, they did a good job with it. This is the US flyer. I'm actually somewhat of a fan and also not a fan of this one. I love the fact that they use real people around an arcade cabinet to advertise it, plus this kid with the Zubaz pants is 90s as all get. I don't love the fact they don't show gameplay. I do appreciate the fact they showed the side of the arcade cabinet so that people will be able to recognize it and know that it exists. But I think a little bit more gameplay would have been nice to show. Yeah, Dad just letting everybody else play. Love that. This is the Japanese flyer. Bit more toned down, but very excited about all the same. This, I believe, was... I'm bad with my languages. I think this is German. Classic logo, though. The logo in the middle with Bart with a slingshot is like, this was iconic for years. It still probably is. And then this one's interesting. This There's another international version. Trying to see the address, but I can't really get anything out of it. But I love the Play Video Man tagline. Pretty great. And that's all I'll show for that. Let's go ahead and get some games going. So, as mentioned before, in honor of... Turn this down a little bit. In honor of Mother's Day, I'm only going to be doing Marge attempts today. I'm going to do a quick 1cc speedrun of the Japanese version. And then I'm going to do either 1 or 2 attempts of the US version. Now, I've cleared the US version, but I haven't in about 5 years. It's quite a bit harder than the Japanese version, so I may get it, I may not. I'll do my best. A lot of it just comes down to the Burns fight. The Burns fight's really hard. It's a lot harder than it is how I'm used to playing it. Gonna pop this in. Here's our opening cutscene for the plot. I won't skip it. Pop. Bart with the rare blue shirt. You don't see that anymore. So we got our vacuum cleaner. We're gonna hit this guy. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. For those that care about this sort of thing, I actually do have a tutorial for this speedrun on my YouTube channel. Been there for a number of years. Go through all this stuff. Quick Skinner and Martin cameo. So this bus stop sign, because that's just what we do in this game. Booty attack. First stage is pretty short. Oh, meant to do that. Missed input. Hit this. So this broom is only available in the Japanese version, and it's really, really good. That was a nice anti-air. Here's why it's good. Oops. Got a little too early. It just takes care of the boss in record time. The throw is supposed to be the hit that knocks down because it's a few frames faster than just hitting him. Like, he just gets hit on first active frame, but I threw it a little bit too early, so it didn't work out. So there's our first bonus stage. Congrats on the streak there, Manic. Here you just mash buttons. I'm personally not very good at the bonus stages. My co-op partner, Dark Alexander, is amazing at them because he got proficient at a technique called hovering. It's a speedrun technique. You hover your fingers across the button and it just gains more inputs that way. I've practiced it. I can't really do it. Probably one of those things someone needs to teach me to do, like, hands-on. If you're a Link to the Past speedrunner, you've definitely heard of hovering. That's how he learned it. And yes, you can use Santa's little helper, the Simpsons family dog, as a weapon. Get out of here. Okay, so here's where the real dumb stuff comes in. As you saw last stage with the broom, we're technically gonna have the same thing now as a hammer, except we get to use it through practically the whole stage. You can see it's just one-shotting all these teacups. It's effective with the same damage as one of Marge's booty attacks. You just get more range and you can do it from further away. It's just a lot safer. There's no recovery frames on it. As soon as you land, you're gold. Getting trolled a little bit here. Of note, unlike TMNT, I'm pretty sure there's no rank system in this game. The difficulty always remains the same regardless of how well you're playing. Nope. One bad thing about the hammer, it doesn't have a very good hitbox off screen. So enemies that are just off screen can just get iframes by just sitting there. Die, please. Here we have the Krusty Balloon. Good RNG. After each of those first 2 cycles of 3 hits, there's a random chance the Krusty Balloon goes in the back and spawns a bunch of cherry bombs. I forgot to switch the scene, my apologies. I'm glad y'all got to see the footage, but I would rather showcase it this way. My apologies all the same. Check out this guy. This. So stage 3 is, to me, the first real gate of the game. This is the first stage where I really felt like I had to learn what I was doing and how I was supposed to be doing it. It's fairly long. You have... That was rude. Wow. In addition to being long, you also have not much space to move around. Top to bottom in the first corridor, you kind of have your work cut out for you. The enemies coming through here just have really good movement and really strong move lists. Get that guy. Now we get our slingshot. Slingshot's really good. Japanese version at one-shot stuff. You don't get this kind of damage in the US version. Those. Very good. That slingshot tosses the Zersh strat. Zersh kind of broke open the speedrun of this game in many ways. I just improved upon it later. Poor guy. So here's a quick speed strat. For those that have seen TMNT Arcade and know that you can scam the highway stage when you're on the skateboard, the exact same principle applies here. You get 3 enemies to spawn, and then you just run away until you get to the bottom. There is a music cue to it that I use, but you don't have to. You can actually just use it as a visual cue. Once the elevator stops moving, you're free to just do what you need to do from there. Dancing around. These guys are kind of fast, so you kind of have to be wary of where they are in proximity to you. And we're good. Alright, let me get some spare health. This boss fight can go one of 2 ways. This is the Bebop and Rocksteady of this game. There's a quick kill that's really, really good. If you don't get the quick kill, this fight sucks. So we'll go for it. Perfect. If they get loose, problems start. The little one in particular is really difficult to deal with. Right, so stage 4, I think, is actually a bit more toned down than stage 3, so not quite the difficulty spike the game wants it to be. But I think that might be the last time that's the case. Stage 5 to 6 is arguable, but I could go either way on that one. I'm supposed to throw the hammer there. Of note, I just learned this today. Apparently these enemy groups have names. The guys with hair are called Roids. Like the name Roy, but with a D at the end. And the bigger guys in pink shirts with less hair are called Ruperts. Quick dance. Okay, unfortunate. Yeah. Sometimes you dive and you just miss. This game has weird hitbox issues sometimes. Here are you. Okay, so I can't despawn him, but I was able to despawn the other enemies. We have a fairly simple boss if you have the broom. Or the hammer. Just do short hop, leave out an active hitbox, stand right behind the guy. Just do this. And he can't beat you. His wake-up attacks are meaningless. A lot of people mistake that guy for being Mo, as in the guy who owns the bar. It's not, it's just some tall drunk guy who can breathe fire. Okay, on to the butt. It's pronounced butte, but it's actually pronounced butt. This is probably my favorite stage theme in the game. I like this song a lot. By and large, I feel like this, that's unfortunate. This game's soundtrack is, while not bad, not particularly memorable, but I will say that it's unapologetically very Simpsons. I was hoping the gorilla would jump down. Rather not deal with those guys if I don't have to. Take this for a 4 kill. Another slingshot. Let's go hold the bridge. Slingshot real good here. Perfectly timed. One more. Okay, so we're gonna go up here and throw a slingshot. A former speedrunner of this game named Makina Azul actually found that broom, and that turned this stage into a trivial matter. Well, the boss fight in particular. This boss used to be one of the hardest. Because not only is he a pain to deal with, but he also has RNG associated with him because of the boulders. Didn't want to have to make that jump, but I kind of had bad luck there. The spacing of the boulders and where they fall is completely random. You have no control over it. Okay. One more hit, I think. Yeah, so not a particularly great fight. I had some bad boulder patterns, but I also had to delay some incoming, and that didn't work out well for me. So it turns out it wasn't a bear at all. It was just some guy in a bear suit. Like he's on Super Troopers or something. Anyway, we are chasing Maggie to a waterfall. She gets apprehended by Smithers again in a crusty helicopter. And we go take a bath. So now we're on to Dreamland, which is, I mean, to call this stage a fever dream is a little bit too on the nose, I think. It's a fairly difficult stage in the grand scheme of things because the enemies you fight in this stage are exclusive to this stage. Nothing before this prepares you for them, and this doesn't prepare you for anything that comes after. Saxophones are probably the hardest enemy here. Without that loop, those guys are a real pain. If they get even one drop of notes on you, they can combo you, and it's really hard to deal with. Painter plant workers are gonna get the work. And this up here. They only take one more hit. Once they lose their head, they're down to 1 HP. You can just do what you want to them. Cool. Another find from Zersh, this little mini nuke we've got here. The Bart doubles used to be the hardest enemy segment in the game, but the nuke reduced them all to 1 HP to just turn into a complete joke. Now on to our boss. Giant bowling ball. Homer's dream or nightmare, not sure, can't confirm. Maybe it's Marge's gift come to life, who knows. Okay, so the second phase, we're gonna grab this bowling ball. Got our 2 hits, very good. Didn't get the cycles I wanted. I needed one more hit before we got that last jump, or else I couldn't optimize time save. But that's okay. So, while he's changing phases, he actually doesn't take damage from any of this, even though he's shaking and changing colors and everything. I just do this for rhythm. Once he starts moving, then he's taking damage again. Alright, first couple phases had some issues, but everything else after that was good. And you definitely want to do your short hop attack because it does do the most damage to this boss, regardless of what version you're playing. It's also one of the few stages that doesn't have a sub-weapon of any kind. It might be the only one. Well, the last stage, but that's a double boss fight, so I don't really count that. Alright, so now we get to wake up. Put the gloves on.
Hey, ready? Go!
Smash, smash, smash. I think that one's actually easier than the first one. I definitely tend to finish it faster. So on to Channel 6. Big flavor fail not making Channel 6 Stage 6, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, I guess. Grab this bowling ball, throw it this way. I was supposed to hit that guy too, but okay. So Channel 6 would be a difficult stage, but we're blessed with a hammer from the very start, and that makes things significantly easier because hammer's busted. You just get to do this the whole time, and enemies just really aren't that much of a threat. Get some extra health, because why not? Mary Poppins, y'all. Go away. We have a mini-boss. Not too many of those, but this is one of them. Wait for him to fire his laser, go in again. There's a really cool speed strat here I'm gonna go for. Not gonna get it. Yeah, I missed time to short hop. If you kill those 2 guys after the boss quick enough, the guy who comes from the top door doesn't spawn at all. I'm not sure if the in-game timer just gets ahead of him or what happens, but it's a great speed strat when it works. Of course, I didn't get it. I got a short hop, lofty kick version of the dive that I wanted. Pie in the sky, pie in the sky. There's a pie in that mountain, by golly. There it is. I didn't need it, I just wanted it. I like pie, so hit that guy. Also, we have these enemies that are most definitely not foot soldiers. Or in any way affiliated with any other video game or franchise. No way, no how. Move on to our boss from here. Here we have the Shogun. Seem to miss the first hit on that guy pretty consistently. I'm not sure why. Seem to still have hammer. That makes this fight really simple. Just corner him and go to town. Time your dives. 5 cycles later and you're good. There are actually a couple caveats to that fight. He can cancel out of the last hit of the 5th cycle and extend the fight by another cycle to 6, and you have to hit him 3 more times. He can also then cancel out of that hit stun into a 7th cycle. But that's as far as he can go. In the 7th cycle, you only hit him 1 more time, and then the fight's over. It's completely random, but you gotta put up with it if it happens. What flavor of pie? Pretty much anything not key lime. It's too tart for me. I love the crust, though. Alright, so for the Smithers fight, I'm gonna get some health first. Smithers is actually a pretty simple fight, because it's just all math. 4, 5, dodge this, do this, bait the wake up, didn't get it. Bait the wake up. One more time. You jerk. Bait the wake up. What are you doing? He's being a bit of a troll, not surprised. Yeah, I should be able to finish him from here. It's only 6 more hits, I think. Cool. More extra health. I'll want it for the burst fight. Whoa, 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 whoa. This is a Japanese 2-player CAD market, yes. So here we have Burns in this giant isotope suit. I'm gonna walk him down here. Hit him all the way to the bookcase. I'm here to tell you, in the US version of this game, this strat doesn't work, and it's one of the reasons it's so difficult.
Where do you think you're going?
And with good execution, I should be able to keep him pinned here. He shouldn't be able to get out. Missed a hit there. I'm in a good position, though, so that's good. Ooh, don't like that wiggle. He does have some iframes for each transformation, but you shouldn't have to lose rhythm because of it or anything. That was weird. Okay. From here, we just get to keep hitting him in the last phase, and he can't get out of this as long as our rhythm is good. Good enough. A couple of hits were unfortunate, but it's fine. And that's time. Yeah, I was pointing out that I'm starting off with the Japanese run because this is the version I speedrun, because it is the optimal speedrun version. Before I do an American 1cc attempt. I'll probably give it a couple tries. It's really hard, but I have done it once. It's just been about 5 years since I've touched it. Thanks for the GGs all. Not a bad no miss. Couple spots were a little hairy, but you can recover pretty well in this game unless Burns gets away from the wall. Then things become an issue. Take the good with the bad. Because when stuff in this game works out, it's really, really good. Like, real good. Hang on. Toss the diamond. That shot is also the same as the shot from the first season. Which honestly, the strange thing is a lot of the aesthetic in this game is based on the first season, but the voices are what came later, like around like season 3. Like a lot of the character voices fleshed out quite a bit over time. AF'd because I tapped too many times. Kentucky Fried Drumsticks. Good enough. Not a bad score, but I run through that one quite a bit. Okay, so, even though I'm most definitely not in any way ready for this, let me fix the title. I did not do that. There we go. All right, let's load up the US version. All I'm going to say is that it's hard. It's a lot harder than what I just played. But I've done it, and maybe I can do it again, maybe not. I'll probably... it's actually going to be a short episode today. because I actually do have Mother's Day plans a bit later, so I'm probably gonna be finished around 3:30 or so. So I'll probably give one reset, but after that, I'll just play to the finish. If I even get a 2cc, I'll be happy. This version of the game is pretty unfair, even with the skill level I have for it. It's pretty gross. Hang on, y'all. My eyes bothering me real quick. I took an allergy pill this morning too. Well, this afternoon, but still. Of note, I've only cleared it with Marge. So with health being at a premium and not having access to busted weapons, safety is very much at a premium in this version of the game. So that's what we have to prioritize. Get anti-aired. That's unfortunate. Whoop. What's also weird is that the roid enemies here have different health. Like, some of them take one hit, some of them take 2 hits. And there's nothing indicative about their color or whatever that would let you know that they do take more or less hits. You just have to know. Alright, so the boss here is a little bit tougher. So what I tend to do is I tend to just do the booty shake, knock down, beta wake up. He's invincible until he does a move, so I can't challenge him with anything until I make him whiff. So it takes more time. That was unfortunate. He went around me. See if I can pin him against the wall. A little bit too early. Thankfully, we have a bonus stage here. Otherwise, we'd be in a ton of trouble. If we get first on the bonus stage, we'll get a full health refill. That was a rough boss fight.
Ready? Go!
Better than the last one. Up and away! Bye, losers. Okay, not quite full, but pretty good. Okay, so on to Krusty Land. Take this guy out. Same strat here. Chuck the mailbox. Hit him. Slide, please. Nope. Okay. I'll take a drink, please. I didn't actually do this in the Japanese version, because the drinks are just so much worse than anything else you could be doing. But they're somewhat useful here. They don't one-shot the Ruperts, but they do one-shot the Roids. So, Hammer's quite a bit worse here. In fact, I probably won't be keeping it. Main reason is you don't get your dive that you got in the Japanese version. On the ground, it's the same weapon, but on the ground, it's just bad. It's just... It does do a lot of damage, but it's really, really slow. So it's fairly safe, but it's still not very good. That was not good. Forgot that boomerangs. Go away, please. Play safety. Toss that, please. Wow. He did that before I even lined up with him. Preemptive. Okay, so get them out of the way. They don't take damage from that, but it does cause hit stun, and I'm more than okay with that. Hammer time. Oh yeah, I forgot these guys don't die in just one hit. You can do this, then this. Nice deflect. No, turn around. Definitely hit them. The hammer does a ridiculous amount of damage. Theirs does. More than yours, I'm pretty sure. Oh, I couldn't pick up Snowball. Oh well. Don't remember, not gonna look it up. The Krusty Balloons is we don't have the hammer. And that was intentional. I didn't want to respawn the hammer. This is actually just better. Let's do this. Move. You have to wait a little bit after it bounces back because it is a little bit invincible. There we go. Alright, stage 3 gets a bit more... Get more off the wall. Here we have to play real safe, and it's not easy to do so. Get you. Probably just gonna see me do basic swings here. Butt bump's just too unsafe. I'd rather just not get hit. Nice anti-air, that dude tumbled. Take it easy. Usually don't want the double swing because the second hit usually doesn't connect, so it's generally not worth it. Umbrella is a big issue. Did not want to trade there. Yeah, you were faster. I understand. Oh my god. Alright. Whatever. That guy will butt bump. Get you. So Slingshot gets a nerf here. It takes 3 hits to kill zombies now instead of 1. Did not know that guy was even going to be there. We're not even going to get to use the whole thing on all the zombies. Like, it's going to run out before we get to use everything. So I kind of have to be impressed with this. That was unfortunate. Also not safe to go for butt bump here because they can punish that. Yeah, that two-handed swing of theirs is just way too fast. I got another bit of that to deal with too. They're fast. This part sucks. Yeah, it's just too fast. Not super surprised. I took hits I really didn't need to either. Like I said, this stage is tough. What you're supposed to do is bait out the swing. I just now remembered that. Yes, I'll repeat earlier what I said. I started off by doing a Japanese version 1cc speedrun because that's the version I speedrun. And then I wanted to move on to the US version to see if I could 1cc it. I've not 1cc the US 4-player version in 5 years. So I'm very rusty, but I thought it would be fun to do. The elevator scam strat works here too, thankfully. Of note, the quick kill on the stage 3 boss also works, which is great. Run away. Okay, there we go. Need some health. Yeah, okay. There should be one more. There we go. I don't have my visual cue here, so I'm just gonna do my best. Yeah, I was a little bit too far away. When you break those barrels, you lose the visual cue that you need. Or at least the one that I use. This works. Okay. Good enough. Only took one minor hit, so even though I don't get to heal it right away, I think we'll be fine. Ruperts take 3 hits. Don't love that. Trying to line up 2 enemies. Got 3, cool. Hammer's not available here. Yeah, hat guys are a problem. I'm never a fan of having to deal with these guys. Probably should have said that. I can't believe I didn't get hit by that hat. That's amazing. Come on up here. Okay. Take this bottle. From here, I'm kind of just using what I can and what's available. Boss fight also has a bit of an adjustment. A big adjustment, actually. Slingshot's okay here. I'll use it just because it's available. It's just the damage on US slingshot is so nerfed. I think I'm gonna toss this. That was lucky. Some pop out of the dartboards. They pinned themselves in, so I have no problem taking advantage of that. One more on the bottom, I think. I won't try to go for despawns, because if it doesn't work, then the boss fight becomes a lot harder. You start off by doing this, and similar to the stage 1 boss, you kind of just have to bait out his attack, because he's invincible until he gets to do one. And then you just come in and hit him. That was unfortunate. He's also a lot faster, so he can just walk and catch up with you. I don't know about that. 2 attacks seems unfortunate. Okay. These kind of boss fights to me just aren't that fun when they have to be slow. One more hit, but my health is very low. He is being very aggressive. Yeah, I'm not surprised. That'll be my one reset. Stage 3 was bad, and that fight was really, really bad. He trolled me a couple times. He got to do 2 attacks after a hit, which isn't consistent. So I just probably rolled a bad seed. I'll just play this one through to the finish. Yeah, I know more people are familiar with this version of the game, but because of the less deep combat, I just don't find it as fun. But most people are going to remember this version, and I won't fault them for that. Knock that down. Another weird thing, when you pick up food in this version of the game, it automatically picks it up. You don't have to press a button. I actually think I like that less. Unfortunate. It was a little bit too early. Don't trust it. Slow walk. Their walk speed will vary, and that does make it a bit more challenging. They get to dictate the pace always. And you're punished for being too aggressive, so you have to be really selective about it. One more hit, I think. Yeah, there we go. Oh, no. Okay. Alright, so with the finished bonus stage, I should be able to get all my health back, which is great. Mash again.
Ready? Go!
Them darn hooligans. I always forget Itchy and Scratchy are on that Springfield amusement park sign. It's supposed to be a precursor to Itchy and Scratchy Land. Hello? Oh my god, why? Why are you such a jerk? Yeah, fine. Because they wanted to set that up, that's why. Like I almost had it too. Anti-air on that is so satisfying. You only had to hit the first guy to get the teacups to trigger, which I always found interesting. I also do like the fact that those guys roam the first 2 stages for the stage 3 payoff. They're stage 3 bosses, but they still appear in stages 1 and 2 and just cameos. I don't believe they're actual Simpsons characters. I've never seen an episode. You at least see the stage 1 boss in an episode. He's a pro wrestler, the professor or something from Germany. I forget his name though. No! Okay. Okay, then. Their jump kicks are a lot more dangerous than I want them to be. That's how it goes. There we go. Hammering away. Come here, Snowball. Would have definitely liked a little bit more health there, but I should have just thrown the hammer initially. I forgot about Snowball here. Great sound effect that it didn't play. Snowball screams really, really loud most of the time. Tough opponent. That happens sometimes. I misspaced it, and he has iframes if he gets to do that, so we're gonna try to just dodge that. One more should do it. I'm gonna bait out an attack. There we go. Didn't like taking that damage, though. Alright. On to the actual hard portion of the game. This is your best attack from this point, but they still have things that beat it, like, you know, jump kicks, anything that can outrange a vacuum cleaner, hat throws, things like that. Umbrella's better. Their jump kick also has hilariously good Z-axis range. Like, you just saw me sidestep it, it just didn't matter. Wow. That was uncanny. I'm in trouble. Yeah, Umbrella's so dumb. Like, not only do they have a good melee with it, they also have this charge that has a ton of priority. I think I should be doing jump kicks, actually, now that I think about it. I don't know why I didn't think about that until just now. Okay. You I can snipe. Okay, so here... yeah, this guy hit me last time. Despawn? Nope, not so lucky. Oops, this one. This might help. Or not. Yeah, really here I should be doing jump kicks. Or at least dive kicks. It's not perfect, because they can still anti-air you with that double swipe. But I think it's still safer than being on the ground. It just has more priority. And it greased them a bit better. For anyone who asks why I don't like the US version of the game, look no further than that segment. When you actually have to fight zombies, you don't get to lane them out with really strong zoning. It sucks. It super sucks. And I'm not holding back about that. Wiggle. Dodging, dodging. We get the time scam. This is also a good music track. Especially like if we get to the bottom floor for the boss fight. So like... dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Okay, so I'm actually gonna take the visual cue here. The visual cue is I like to be on this, like, directly on this brown line. There we go. And I try to set myself up exactly halfway between these two barrels. So like right here. Missed. That's your backup if you don't get the third hit on the big guy. Alright, let's move on. Down a life, we got full health. So maybe things can work out in our favor. That was supposed to be a short hop attack, but I guess I had bad execution there. Okay. Die, please. I completely forgot he has Lariat. That's amazing. It's a really good move. Vertical range is so unfair. I can't even recall if that guy's dead or not. He's not. You have to be really careful with jump kicks on that guy because if the hat comes back, it does have a hitbox. Even if he's dead. The trolling. Thank you. Very good. Yeah, I'm actually gonna forgo slingshot here. It was pretty bad. Japanese version, you can hit that guy. There we go. Just have to be a little bit further ahead. Turn into a dive kick party. This is safe. Unless that happens, I guess. Remember, I was only reminded that was a move not even 2 minutes ago. That's a hitbox too. Cool. Just get rid of you. Those drop food sometimes. Bad RNG there. You have to bait out your stuff. Okay, so I guess I have to make him come at me. Yeah, this erratic movement is for the birds, man. It's so cheap. Like, yeah, just can't, the fact that I just can't challenge that, like, it's so silly. Yeah, I think he has to punch. We'll continue again. So I guess for him specifically, you have to bait out the punch, whereas the stage 1 boss, you can bait out anything. If he breathes fire, you're not safe to go in. Only when he takes the swing that you're good. That's on me. God, that was fast. Ugh. Save boss fights are boring. Okay. Unsurprisingly, the butt is also a fair bit harder. Thank you. I'll let him just toss his boulder. Do that. Take this now. There is food in that tree, but you also incur the wrath of the bees, and I'd rather just not. You. I don't recall if there's corn over there or not. I'm pretty sure there's not, but worth a look. Yeah, no. Slingshot's still pretty good here, but still worse. Especially because it doesn't one-shot the Ruperts. Wow. He just scared that guy off. Anti-air on him. Didn't kill him. You have to fight these guys here. Game doesn't give you a choice there. The raccoon tried to attack me. No broom back there. I'll wait for this lumberjack to spawn. Throw that. What's up, rookie? Grab this boulder. So the bear fight is the same as it would have been without a broom. It's pretty annoying. Bait out the thing. Boulders are decent for additional damage if they connect, but they don't do much. If he does the growl into the roll, that's iframes. Well, not iframes because he takes damage, but armor. That's actually better when it works. There we go. That was very unlucky. That was just rude. Okay. Not a good fight, but I gotta hold it.
How's my hair? How's my hair?
Moving on to Dreamland. Dreamland's, from what I can recall, is mostly the same. Except you actually have to fight the devil enemies because you don't have access to a nuke. That. Hey, you don't have a cherry bomb here either. Stars. There we go. There is health in the flagpole, I think. That might be Japanese version only. Yeah, I'll just ignore it. Sack strat is the same. There we go. What's up, Phil? I don't think there's a time that I ever don't want donuts. Nice. That guy has full health, so they don't have adjustable health here. And here you just... That was unfortunate. I'm dead. You get comboed. Those enemies suck. Well, I prefer to not have to fight them. If you can catch them in a loop with this, it's great, but they spaced out a little bit too well, and I got trolled. Happens. I meant in real life. That was unfortunate. I haven't been on a weight loss plan in a bit, but when I started one back in like 2019, the thing I missed more than anything right off the bat was donuts. But it was necessary to give them up. Unfortunate. That doesn't happen that often. Alright, so first three phases are a bit of a troll. Last phase is going to be the same. He's still not taking damage, but he will when he starts moving, so I'm doing this for rhythm. About the same amount of health, too.
How's my hair? Hey, ready? Go!
Nothing different here. We will get health back, which is great. When your characters are idle in this game, they have just generic quotes they use. Bart's is "Who the hell are you?" because that was his catchphrase at the time. And I think that was the first time I ever heard profanity used in a video game. Certainly not the last time, but first time. I can't remember if Hammer's good here or not. I feel like it's decent. Hammer has problems when you can't do dive attacks. That was unfortunate. Nice triple kill, though. Why does it have to be a trade? Why can't I just be rewarded for trying to play well? Okay, here's this. One up here. I think it's one more hit. No, it's 5. 5 total. I kept thinking it was 5, but then I got talked out of it. That's actually 6, okay. So sudden. So there's a speed strat at work. I was able to kill those two guys immediately. And the guy on the top top door didn't spawn. I'm actually gonna take broom here. I think broom might be a little bit better. It's actually probably about the same, but whatever. I like to try new things sometimes. Get you. Now this fake pink tree definitely has healing. That was gross. I'm actually not gonna use broom. This does more damage. They have iframes during the entire fall. That's so dumb. Can't be too lame, I guess. Definitely don't want slingshot. Just bring the spruce caboose. I'm still possibly working on a 2cc here, but that is going to be really hard. At this point, I'd be happy with a 3. Hello? What the? There's not supposed to be this many enemies. I don't know what's going on here. I got like double the number of enemies you normally see there. That was strange. So this is another bait fight. Bait out the attack, go in, hit, repeat. This guy's a little bit harder though because he does have goons with him. That was definitely not supposed to be a swing. There we go. Correct. That's a US version feature. That attack seems problematic, but it's actually pretty easy to avoid. It just has a huge hitbox and it looks scary. So it's a psych out. I'd rather just not get hit by that. That was unfortunate. He got me when I was trying to kill the ninja. Alright, 3cc then, I hope. Had iframes, so I'm gonna use them. This fight's really annoying when you have to play safe. You don't just get to aggro. 2 hits. Correct. That's why I don't like the US version of this game. It's gross. We'll fly in. Alrighty. So the Smithers fight's gonna work out exactly the same. We don't get any extra healing. There's no hot dog up here, there's no turkey up here. So you do kind of need some cooperation a little bit. Here we'll bait out an attack. Cave is a problem, don't get hit by it. It's a really dumb attack. Unfortunate. Also just never want him running away. Like when he's off my axis, that's when he's at his worst. He had one more. Okay. Should be able to just finish him from here. Yeah, pretty much the same. But if I remember correctly, you don't get to heal. He just blows himself up and he leaves the screen. So yeah. You just don't really get any advantages here. So the Burns fight is really bad. He doesn't suffer additional hit stun. I'll show what I'm talking about. Like you can't stagger him back with your hits. So there's a lot of RNG to this. What I tend to do is just dive kick and hope for the best. Like you need to get your hits as safely as you can, but there's no guarantee of the safety. Because he might just anti-air you like he did to me there. See? Like, and those are completely invincible. You can't stop him from doing that. This is the reason I never wanted to pursue this 1cc with all 4 characters like I did the Japanese version. It's just a slog. Like, I'm not a group slug player, you know? Like, we're following the same philosophy as we did for some of the other bait tactic boss fights, but it's just so much more lame. Because he just has a lot more, like, do what you want type nonsense to him.
Where do you think you're going?
Yeah. Proper spacing is critical here. You just cannot aggro him no matter what you do. If you hit, you immediately run away. Do your best to try to land on the other side. Hope he doesn't do that. Take advantage. That was not iframes. Yeah. I definitely know I didn't miss this for a reason. But this is gonna be the whole fight. Like, I can't deviate from the strat. There's nothing else that works well, and even as you see so far, it hasn't really worked that well. So here, he can't hit on both sides anymore, but his movement speed gets a lot faster, so he can just troll you with stuff. Like, he can just turn around immediately and get you, or walk up to your point, to your location and hit you. The laser is also a problem because he moves really fast when he does it, so dodging it is critical. Go. The last phase is by far the fastest. I can't believe I avoided that, actually. I thought that had me. Amazed I avoided that. I went for a short hop and got punished. I understand. It was like a short hop dive, too. Same as a lofty kick, but got punished all the same. Yeah, now he's real fast. If he extends the tongs, like, you can't hit him. He's completely invincible to that entire thing. Rude. What's up, Uncle Kev? Got here for the last attempt. Gonna finish off Burns this last credit. I hope it only goes one more. He's also invincible when he's doing that. Absolute troll. And he was spaced far enough away to where I couldn't punish him with iframes. Only takes 4 hits to kill you. Because everything he does 30% health. No. Bombs, thankfully, are pretty easy to avoid. That was good. Late hit. Unfortunate. Easy to avoid, but I missed the jump. I'm actually amazed it didn't hit me. I really wish that didn't happen, but it did. Like, I don't feel like I'm playing unsafe. This boss fight just sucks this much. Yep. He just gets to do all the things. Okay. Whatever. Yeah, I don't play the US version for a reason, and that's the big reason. Yeesh. I'm glad y'all got to see how awful it is, though. I'll accept G because it was definitely a game. Yeah, same ending, nothing changes here. It's just a harder experience and a harder game. There's a few examples of Japanese versions having it easier, and this is a standout. Metamorphic Force is probably like the king of that, but this one's up there. Anyway, as mentioned, it's a short episode today. Really appreciate y'all hanging out here on RGL on Mother's Day. Hope y'all have a great rest of your holiday. Let's go see who we're gonna host. Hold on a second. Yeah, same ending. That was stage 8, yes. Interesting, no game over screen. He's got the initials right this time. Oh yeah, I forgot to get loops. Also, nice little isotope bag that Smithers had. Let's go ahead and just pause on that, show the screen. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for today. We don't have any additional episodes right after this, so I hope you all enjoyed Can You Hack It and KFC. We're going to host a longtime RGL friend of the stream and ex-staff member, Angry Lanks. He just recently learned the speed run of Batman Return of the Joker, and that's an awesome speed run. Very execution intensive. So we're going to go ahead and raid on that. Let me start the music.